Nice, good. That's fair. Nice to drive to Helena, drop
Yeah.
off while you do all the hard work.
Give me just a minute, let me get the other earring on.
Okay, okay.
Get dressed here. Well, maybe.
We'll call this meeting to order. Commissioner meeting on May 18th, 2015. We'll stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone. Okay, start off public comment, about 10 a minute. Commissioner update. And public comment. Go ahead, Brenda.
The only thing I have is this invoice for Casting Kaufman and Merson that was returned to my office. And on the bottom it says requesting explanation for this bill. Right under it says finalize motion to dismiss and prepare order final invoice, which is included into it. I know several months back it was agreed to pay for the attorney services for the suit with the sheriff's office. I don't know why that was returned, so. And it says right on it, it's final invoice and to prepare the order, so.
Okay. Okay.
So
Any
I'm
questions
returning
from-
it back to you.
Are there any bills on there? What I
The
questioned was,
invoices- the
it's
invoices.
May, it was settled in March, and I'm just wondering if there were any charges beyond the settlement date. Otherwise, why wasn't this included? We got a final bill already. And that was for 17,000? Right, yeah.
The final. You get 221, and then they billed out the last of it was billed out in April is when she put the last of the invoices together.
What was the
For her
settlement
time.
date?
The settlement date and the preparation date, okay, when she billed it out, the date she billed it out is 4/21.
But it was settled a month plus before that. That's my issue.
Settled and billed are two different days.
Well, I'd like an explanation.
And you can talk to my attorney about settled and billed.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate just to, and you can have Corey talk to us too about the process, but
Okay, well, I'll just take it into Cory and have him talk to my attorney about it then.
or talk to us.
Okay.
I'm just
Thank
asking
you,
for an explanation, Brenda. And I think that's responsible on our part to have explanations when we're given a bill that we don't understand.
Oh, yeah.
Any other comments? Anything from board members? We had a little rainy lately, but not very much.
You know, some friends over at Stanford got an inch and it was still raining. I thought maybe they would share, but they didn't. But I'll take what we got.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
The cool weather probably helped as much as anything too.
Pardon me.
The cool weather helped.
But you know, I don't understand Mother Nature, because we got a nice rain, and right behind it we got the wind.
Wind, every
Dry
day.
it out,
Yeah,
you know?
every day we
I
have
mean,
that wind.
Come on.
Hard wind too.
We could be in our country where we get the wind and don't get the rain.
You didn't get any rain?
We got a little bit, but
Not much.
Between 2 and 3 tenths. Did you get more than that?
We didn't have a gauge up right
Oh,
now.
okay. Yeah.
We were afraid to put a gauge up for fear to chase the rain away.
Yeah, I just pulled the top off mine, so or the freezing part here, just before this one come, but yeah, it sure, had a little over 2/10 at the house and just a little over 3 up the place. Not very good. Somebody wanting to come in, or?
No, they're painting.
Oh, I see, okay. I can just see the motion there all day.
Montana Minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Sharon, congratulations on being the big boss now.
Oh, thank
I
you.
thought that was very, very nice.
Thank you.
And good luck to you with the year. It's a good year.
Yeah. I think I'm only the second woman to be the commander of the post since, in 96 years.
Really?
Yeah, I just found who the first post commander was, because now that the museum is open, and so I found out who the first one is, because I can't seem to find a record over at the club. So I'm doing a lot of,
Who was the first one?
I can't remember his first name, but I think he also put in his hat in the ring to be a sheriff in 1920. Cates, C-A-T-E-S, I think it's J, initial J, I can't remember what it stood for, Benjamin Cates, C-A-T-E-S. So, yeah.
And who was the first woman?
I don't know, but I think it's been somewhere since the end of World War II that she was in. I can't remember who it is, but
I kind of wondered if it was Myrtle Hooks. Was a nurse and very active with the VFW. Lived here for a long, long time.
yeah, I'll have to ask Mary Alice, because she's,
And she would remember if it was Myrt.
yeah. I have a feeling the name doesn't ring a bell. Somebody once told me, but it's not clicking.
Well, and with her name being Hooks, it's Mary Hooks' mother-in-law, that would have
Mhm.
triggered a memory there.
Mhm. But yeah, I'm just finding, I went all through 1919 of the Townsend Star, couldn't find anything until December. One day in December, it mentioned that there was, they listed some veterans as soon as they signed the application, and that there would be a post here, and they met on Christmas Eve of 1919, and then elected their first officers. So I just thought that was really pretty
It is
interesting.
interesting.
I thought our date was November 3rd, 1990, so I had to research even more. So, wow, pretty interesting. And
So how many belong right now to the post? About.
we're around about 124-ish. You know, we've lost a few in the past month, but we're around 124, although that's not how many are active, but
Uh-huh.
that's how many we have, so.
That's very good.
Yeah, wow. But they keep on wanting this membership. So it's hard, because there are, they say, roughly 300 veterans in Broadwater County,
300?
roughly, that are eligible to be in the Legion, so it's hard to get the younger people in. So I'm working on Corey. I'm hoping he'll be in before next, or at least put in his paperwork before Memorial Day, because he's one of our speakers.
Oh, that would be good.
Next Monday, yeah. So,
Huh.
so don't forget, Memorial Day is a week from today, and we'll have a service out in Memorial Park.
And what time is that?
11.
So I
Starts
thought,
at
okay.
11. So we'll have chairs out there, and our two speakers,
Who's speaking?
Jen Dalrymple
Oh, okay.
and Corey.
Very good.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Well, I just had to say congratulations.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
quite an honor.
It is, it really is. So, I hope it works well.
It will.
I'm sure
I
it
have
will.
no doubt. You'll do very, very well and be very busy.
Yeah.
More so than she wanted.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, my Montana Minute is, today is County Day of Recognition of National Service. So, huge thanks, Elaine, for all your prep work and getting the cake and the lemonade and all the utensils and cups. Eric, who's painting out here, volunteered this week to set everything up. Rotary's gonna come and set up tables and chairs. The Lieutenant Governor will be speaking. We'll hear from Representative Zinke and Senator Tester, hopefully Senator Daines as well, although I haven't heard back. So I think it's gonna be a nice
Are we gonna be
celebration
outside or are we gonna be in here?
outside. Hopefully there'll be a lot of people so that we couldn't all fit in here. If it's thundering, we'll come on in.
Good.
Yeah, so, and Saturday was Armed Forces Day. So, again, congratulations to you guys and thank you to all you guys
Thank
as
you.
well. So, that's all I have.
So who would be the oldest member of the post?
We have a couple of World War II veterans. I think, I can't think of his name, senior moment, but we have a couple of World War II veterans. We did have one that just passed away. Again, I'm getting too old to remember names, but I think he was buried at Fort Harrison and not here, but yeah, we don't have very many of those left as World War II veterans. So.
That's a long time.
Yeah, most of them are all in their nineties now, aren't they? Any that survived.
They're in the late 80s to 90s, right? Depending on how young they were when they went in.
Yeah.
So,
You know what amazes me is when you read about that generation, those young men dropped everything and joined. And I don't know that that would happen today.
well,
I don't know that it would or I don't know that it wouldn't, but,
they have since 9/11 because it's all volunteer.
uh-huh.
It's all volunteer. There's been no draft since 9/11, so they continue to volunteer.
Good.
So that's why I'm very proud of the veterans that are active duty today and serving, because they have. The other thing is, I'm proud of those during the Cold War that continued to join. Unfortunately, they don't qualify to be in the Legion. That's my one pet peeve. I wish Congress would change, at least with the American Legion. Veterans of Foreign War, that speaks Veterans of Foreign Wars, but those that we're missing a whole bunch. But the American Legion serves all veterans, whether you're a member or not. They stand for all our veterans, and they have a big voice in DC. So, and the support of our president, senators, and representatives, because I always emailing them, and I always get a response back, whether it's from somebody in the office or them. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that somebody from the office responds back.
And
So.
acknowledged it.
Right, right. So we might not always agree, but I let them know.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well, I had another Montana Minute, and I thought of it on the way in. And by the time I parked my car and got in here, my senior moment. I was telling it, I was thinking, boy, and that's a good one. And, yeah.
This will have our, our proclamation.
The Commissioner's Community Update. I do have a request of you guys. This Thursday is Agency on Aging, and we're meeting with all of our partners for the annual meeting. If you guys have anything you'd like me to bring forth, please let me know. And I just want you guys to know that we are going to be restarting the microloans, and those will probably be in the sum of about $2,000 for each senior center. So that'll be discussed on Thursday. So again, if you have anything, let me know.
Okay, and then I have one request. We're meeting Wednesday at 10, and I have a funeral that I cannot get out of
Okay.
that morning. If we want to move it to afternoon, fine, but if not, I can come when I get done. But,
Would it be better, would 11 be better, or?
no, the funeral starts at 10:30,
Oh,
so,
oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
And I'm going to an economic development summit from 11 to 1:30 on Wednesday, so I'm not available either.
So we just need to postpone
I think that would be fine.
Okay.
We could meet that afternoon, or we could just table everything till the following Tuesday,
it?
for
Okay.
the holiday.
So
So,
this is a funeral I can't get out of. so-
right, some of those you have to go
Okay, so
to.
we'll just cancel out on Wednesday then.
Right,
Okay.
And that should be posted,
yeah.
the cancellation, Franklin.
Corey, Brenda, you have something?
Well, I don't want to interrupt if you're on.
No, you're okay.
So, two things, I would like an opportunity maybe next week to visit with you on just the building project. I've done some research, I was gone for a while, I've got some more work I'm doing this week, and probably would be ready to, next week, kind of lay out what I think we're looking at from, start to finish. So, whenever you can put me on the agenda when it's convenient for you. I am still dealing through my schedule, so I can't tell you right now a date and time next week that works or doesn't work, but if I could get back to you before you set your agenda for next week, I can tell you court and things like that when I wouldn't be available. But, so I just wanted to ask that I have a chance to visit with you about that. And then secondly, on this invoice from the sheriff's office, I just wanted to address that briefly if I could.
Go ahead.
So when we finalized the lawsuit, sheriff's office against commissioners and agreement to pay the attorney's fees, I had told you a couple different times in that process that there would be some little additional fees to finalize the dismissal. And the dismissal, the final motion to dismiss couldn't happen right away. It was part of the agreement, it wouldn't happen until after the budget amendment was passed and the new resolution for salaries was passed, which took us a month, maybe, between 1 and 2 months to finalize that. Once those events were finalized and adopted, that's when then I bugged the sheriff's attorney saying, okay, now you need to file your motion to dismiss, which they did. So that's why this last portion of attorney's work to do the motion to dismiss was, number one, late, because it was waiting for us to finish our amended budget and our amended salaries. And then secondly, this additional money, even though it was after we agreed to settle the lawsuit, is included in their work to finalize the lawsuit. And I had a couple times indicated there's gonna be a little bit more because she's gonna have to do some more paperwork to dismiss it. So that's what this is, and so I would urge you to pay this because this is part of finalizing that lawsuit. It simply took longer because the dismissal necessarily wouldn't happen until we finalized our budget amendment and our salary resolution amendment. Does that make sense?
It does, it was me that asked for an explanation,
yeah,
so
and that's-
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the explanation. So it's,
Okay,
I remember saying that there'd be a final one coming in.
okay, so if you need me to address any more, I will, but otherwise I'll
No.
back to my piles of work.
Good luck on.
Welcome back home.
Thanks, Cory.
Did you have anything, Brenda, or you just,
No?
okay. So, should we go ahead with this proclamation? Now, I'm kind of new to it. Do I read this off? Is that what it's usually done? Okay. Proclamation in honor of County Day of Recognition for Community Service. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges, and whereas Broward County is increasingly turning to community service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet county needs, and whereas community service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, leadership abilities for those who serve, and whereas the community service participants increase impact in the organizations they serve, both through their direct service and by managing fellow volunteers, and whereas the community service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-tax resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollar. And whereas community service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them in their future endeavors. And whereas Broward County Commissioners share a priority with county executives nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and join with county executives from across the country for the County Day of Recognition for National Service on May 18, 2015. Therefore be resolved that the Broward County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim May 18, 2015 as County Day of Recognition of Community Service and encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of community service in our county, to thank those who serve, and to find ways to give back to their communities.
You know, we couldn't run this county without all the volunteers that we have. And I think we are really blessed to have lots of different volunteers from different walks of life. So, hats off.
I agree. Yeah, well stated.
Do we need a motion?
Probably, yeah.
I also move to accept the proclamation.
I'll second.
Okay, move to second, we accept the proclamation as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
No, I'll have to sign it.
And if you'd sign above your names.
I would like to copy that sent to Julie Searstead.
You bet.
Is it Rocky? You wouldn't mind doing that?
Yeah.
We can set a schedule. This is a PILT claim, so, and it's for the city for the water sewer garbage ambulance building.
I'll make a motion that we pay city water out of PILT for the ambulance building.
I'll second.
Move to second, we pay the city ambulance building, water sewer and garbage. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passed. You wanna sign that? Okay. Stacked it. And here's another signatures for rubber recorder for the Jennifer May 11th, 2015 for $24.
No, that's not a PILT one, is it?
No,
PILT one, we always have to put down so that the auditors know what we're doing.
okay. And the motion this year, we don't need a motion on this.
Lane, how much is that pill on?
6480.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, since we're in, before our next appointment, I would like to request that we move up the DNRC Broadwater County Fire Control Agreement. With our 3 o'clock celebration, that's cutting it awfully close if our 1:30 goes it all long.
Isn't it good?
And it could, yeah.
Okay. And there's the one we already went through and agreed on, we had him on the agenda. This is the one with the department.
So do we have to make a motion again?
We do, there's actually 2 there. We never did bring up, we never had the second one brought up to the commission or in a public meeting. So it's never received acknowledgement or vote. So we do need a vote on the fire control agreement.
I make a motion that we
Go ahead.
approve the fire agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, move to second, we accept the the fire control agreement, State of Montana, Broward County, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
And what's the other one?
That's the one we've already, that was for the equipment.
Okay.
I guess we all signed it.
And the top needs to be filled out so that we know what we're signing.
Yeah. Did you
Oh,
send?
here. I think I did. Oh, no, I guess I didn't.
I'm sorry.
Couple of minutes, here's the claims in the amount of $64,400.66.
And will we pay the approved claims in that sum?
Second.
Move second, we pay the sum of $64,400.66. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Is Gary open at kind of MC today?
He is, yeah, we met on Thursday, and he'll of course razz the lieutenant governor for being a Rotarian. Has a good line. But yes, he will be introducing her, and he's aware of the letters from the congressional delegation as well. And he's excited.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, 10:30, time for John Walsh, Tracy Kiesel, is that pronounced right?
Hi Tracy, long time no see.
Morning, morning.
Morning, Joe.
I'm kind of disappointed. Where's the crowd?
I got tired of this.
We're here today to present our budget for the DUI task force, our meeting dates, our mission statement, plan of action that you guys have to sign along with everything else you do. Tracy is our secretary, of course, and I have been nominated as one of the chairperson.
Congratulations.
Actually, I think it was the railroad, I was gone.
Yeah, that works.
But
That happens sometimes.
it does, but that's fine.
There's some meetings you shouldn't miss.
And I guess if they can put up with me, I can kind of survive. It's pretty much meeting dates and everything are pretty well self-explanatory, along with our mission statement, which has not changed over the years since the task force was brought about. One thing that we do have is we do have a list of our members. And we have had a change in members, which we always do. It's hard to get members. So we really, that's kind of something we kind of would like to push for. We had a little trouble getting, to be honest with you, we had a little trouble getting someone from the sheriff's office. I had to kind of twist some arms and get some favors brought in. So in view of that, I think, I'm not sure you guys have to approve, I believe you do, you have to approve our membership members. which is probably on one of the statements in the plan of action. Maybe not.
Actually, we could include it in our motion though.
Right. As you,
And John's right.
Go ahead.
Our membership list is lacking a little bit. We could certainly use some more folks that are interested in joining our group and helping with our efforts.
we should have a commissioner on there.
I
As
know
if
we
you
get
don't
to
have
see you
enough
guys
time.
I was
once in a
just
while,
thinking that, you're
probably.
right.
But any chance that you get to put out, requests for members, we would like to be on that list as well.
How often do you meet?
Our meeting calendar is right there on the first
Okay.
page. And it's the last Wednesday of the month typically, except in November and December, which, the last Wednesday falls too close to Thanksgiving and Christmas, so we go the third Wednesdays in those 2 months. And we meet either here or the jury room, unless one of those 2 rooms is occupied.
I've tried to make a couple of meetings, and I think I made just 1 or 2 last year. I would like to actually, so I will make a more committed attempt to come to the meetings. So I will put these on my
Is
calendar
Laura
right away.
still on the email?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Get the
Yeah.
emails and everything. Okay.
If you can't go, holler, and I will.
Deal. All right.
Okay.
And the thing of it is I got in a big discussion with some people over the weekend. And they think DUI task force is a farce and one thing and another because there's a lot of people in certain events that do drive drunk, impaired, and they're not getting picked up, they're not even getting looked at. But really, in going over this and one thing and another, we can't do much with the older folks that have been doing this for years. And so with a lot of the things that we do, such as the senior all-night party, we help out with that. The Super Bowl party, where we get the kids and one thing and another, and the Teen Safety Week and stuff like this that we really promote. So what we're doing is trying to get those younger kids and give them an option. And I think if we start them young enough in one thing and another, then, I think it's a lot better deal, to be honest with you. So I've had some people say, well, it's a farce, why do you guys do it and all this and that? Well, I'm not after the older folks. I mean, you're not gonna change them in one thing or another, but if we can change the mind of these kids.
But if you can save a life,
mm,
I mean, you can't put dollars on that.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing, being down in Arizona and one thing and another, I've seen on TV and whatnot several instances where these kids have just, and peer pressure is really terrible nowadays, with the kids. So if we can help them in any way, then we really need to, and that's why we need to get the community support and one thing and another. And our budget is kind of self-explanatory also. I don't know how much time we have, and one thing and another to go into a lot of detail and whatnot, but there's a lot of things in the budget that is very, very controlled by the state, one thing and what we can do with it. And to help the kids is one thing, and then most of that money all comes from the fundraisers that we have and whatnot.
Like,
Well, we have a night golf tournament we're gonna put on.
oh,
You wanna come golf at night?
I'm a lousy golfer in the day. Imagine night.
Yeah. And just so you know, we haven't had a couple of fundraisers for a couple of years just because our membership is lacking to hold those things. But our golf tournament was popular the first year we had it, so we're gonna try to do that again this year. It doesn't necessarily bring out professional golfers. Obviously, but it's fun, and it's a good time to spend the evening with just friends and just hang out and have a good time there at the golf course. So that's gonna be an effort of ours, is to hold it at night this time, just to have something different
Are kids allowed to go?
Yep. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
it'll be a family.
Encourage everybody
It'll be a
to come out.
family event. And on our budget, the one thing that you will notice that might stand out to you under our revenue is the $18,000, which is from the passing of House Bill 132. And that was to redirect all unspent reinstatement fees from counties that didn't have DUI task forces ever, or for a long time. That money has been sitting in a pot and accumulating for over 10 years. And so that money is being redirected and spent equally amongst all of the task forces that are currently approved. So that's that 18,000. That's not something that we can expect on a regular basis. That's gonna probably be a one-time shot, and we should get that. If we have this year's plan in on time and signed, we should get that July 1 in our account. And it probably won't be an even 18,000. They weren't sure what the exact amounts would be, but the email from Department of Transportation said to write $18,000 into your plans, and then they would tell us what the exact amount would be closer to us. It would be a little bit over 18, but we could expect 18 and maybe some change as a one-time deposit. And that allows us to do a little more education and training and that type of stuff going forward. So that's pretty exciting, because for a small county like Broadwater, our annual income is right around $3,300. So to get an $18,000 check is significant money. You know, for larger counties and larger DUI task forces that function off of 60,000 a year, that's not as significant as it would be for us. And John's right when he says that our efforts go to a lot of the young people. It's that population that we can reach easily. We have a hard time getting to the adults and finding places and times when we can have those conversations and have those events, but it's pretty easy for us to get involved with young people.
You know, for a while, we had a sheriff's car parked down here at Carroll's.
Mhm.
It had been in a wreck because of a DUI driver. I don't know if you have to get in line to get that or anything, but that makes people stop and think.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have access to that. There's a highway patrol trooper's card. It was owned by Department of Transportation, and they traveled the state with a group of interns that they paid. That has since gone away, and that car is now owned by Missoula County DUI Task Force, I believe. So they're just kind of figuring out how they can make that be available statewide and get the transfer of that title and that type of stuff, just so that, you know, everything is in fine order. But we will definitely be looking to get in on that particular.
Well, and that was an ideal place because you're not far from the school.
Yeah.
So it's hitting the kids right in the face.
Yeah.
And mom and dad coming down Main Street, it's gonna get them.
Yeah, we certainly want to try to provide different types of educational opportunities, and that's one of them. We've got the annual Super Bowl party, which isn't so much as a wrecked car or anything horrible and fatal. It's more of that, let's provide this safe and alcohol-free environment for kids to come together and us to be able to mentor them and spend the evening with them. But I think we've learned over time that you've got to have different pieces of an educational program, and some are touchy-feely and some are not so touchy-feely, and they will appeal to some kids and the others will.
Well, and I hear on the radio this morning, on the way in, that the HPs are really pushing hard for seatbelts right now. So, looks to me like that could be slipped into.
Mm-hmm. We're right in the middle of May mobilization, which is a national seatbelt
There was a-
enforcement and educational period.
Can you touch on that assembly that they had at school here?
Yeah, we were
Which we would
able
really like to
to,
get more in.
yeah, one of our members, Cal James with the Highway Patrol, went to a training in California and listened to a national speaker with Impact Teen Drivers Program, and found out through a conversation after his training that she's from Montana, from the Helena area. And he asked if she would be willing to bring her program to us and how we could make that happen. And so we did that. She came just before Safe as a Bulldog Week. We had an assembly, we did some activities there at the school and with the young people, and her program is primarily distracted driving, but we specifically asked her to provide more seatbelt information to the teens, and she certainly did that, and so I thought it was a great opportunity.
The thing that really hit these kids hard is the program she brought and the video and everything that she brought. It hit very close to the death that we had a couple of years ago with Dakota Kimbrough.
Yeah.
And there was kids that walked out of there and one thing that with tears in their eyes. But that's the thing we need to do. There's some other programs and one thing and another that we would like to get that for the school and one thing and another, but they're actually kind of hard to get to school because they have their curricular one thing and another, and we can't really step on that, but we need to incorporate that. And I think if we can get the community and some more community members and one thing and another, and get this signed by the commissioners and whatnot, then let the county know, you guys are behind it as well as everybody else. I think it might be a little easier to get some of this stuff done.
Now, the boys weren't drinking.
No, oh no, but it was
Okay.
it was a seatbelt issue is
Right.
what it was. And in the video, it was actually a football player and one thing and another. It's very similar, very similar.
Yeah, there were some things that were strikingly similar to,
To
she
you.
didn't have to bring Townsend's situation into her presentation. It was so similar that you just could feel
Everybody
the,
knew it.
yeah, you just felt it on your own. But she provided a train the trainer session that day, and we bought the materials to carry that particular piece of education forward in the future with our schools and stuff. And speaking, if you look at page, just as far as our plan, nothing much has changed. And I apologize for some of the color. I didn't realize until everything had printed out that the color on my printer wasn't functioning so well, and so I do apologize. It looks great on an electronic copy. It didn't print out, so great. So you've got a lot of state data. You got some state data and some graphs, but starting on page 8, where you just go into Broadwater County's overview, some data doesn't come in as timely as other data, crash data and that type of thing. So we've got some data from 2012 and 2013. We've got some 10-year spanned alcohol-related crash data and impaired driver crash data. We've got winter versus summer months on page 10. Sometimes, and I apologize again for the color, it doesn't look that way electronically, but when you start digging into data, some people assume that more crashes are happening on our icy, snowy roads, and that's not the case. It's gonna take us a little while to dig into data, but I was waiting till the bitter end, because I knew that 2014 crash data was gonna come available any minute, and it just didn't come to be as of late last night when I finished this. 2014 data wasn't available, so what you're getting is 2004 to 2013. Then on page 11, you've got male versus female, alcohol-related fatal and serious injury crash, which shows you that 3/4 of our crashes are male drivers, and then the age of drivers right below that, and that's our 21 to 35-year-olds, and then followed by the 36 to 65-year-olds. But certainly the 14 to 20-year-olds who are not even old enough to legally drink are represented there in our age-related crashes. And then on page 12, just going on to some of our challenges, And there you see that occupant safety and restraint issues is built right into this plan, because with all of our alcohol-related crashes, it's important for us to note that the alcohol in and of itself is not killing people on our roads. It's certainly impairing their ability to drive safely and to operate a motor vehicle safely, but it is not killing them. And the one thing that has jumped out significantly in our alcohol-related crash data is the lack of restraint use. And that is what is injuring and killing our people on our roadways. So it is built into our plan right there, and it's built into it towards the end, but we've got policy and legislation. We're always supporting rigorous DUI and impaired driving laws, seatbelt and child safety seat laws. We've got enforcement, prosecution, adjudication, and training. So we're supporting law enforcement with overtime shifts, visual and trial technology, because we know if really good trials come forward, we get prosecution of DUI-related cases, and that's important. Training for judges, law enforcement, prosecutors, our members. The 24/7 program is built into here. Some other trainings for law enforcement. On page 16, you've got education, awareness, media, advocacy, and intervention, which is a lot of our outreach to our young people. And then,
Do you all do the class where you teach people, bartenders and all?
Right.
yeah, and then that was the very next one on the top of page 17, which is our alcohol server training class. We do that here quarterly in Broward County, and that is still going strong. So that's an important piece of the DUI Task Force's plan. And then you'll see on page 18, just some of those times that we're targeting either young people or the adult. And then on the bottom of page 18 there again is the seatbelt and occupant protection piece of our plan, our evaluation on page 19. How do we know we're doing a good job? And that's always hard to evaluate. So sometimes it's just looking at crash data and seeing if that data is changing at all, or looking at the number of people who are coming to our events or our trainings. So that's the plan in a nutshell. It hasn't changed a lot. And then our budget, of course.
As Tracy touched on, we do provide funding for overtime for the sheriff's department, one thing and another, to do compliance checks and one thing and another also, which in discussing with some of the deputies, they haven't done a compliance check for quite a while in the county. But it does help, and there are some of the bartenders and one thing and another that are a little bit lax. So, but we do provide the overtime funding, so it doesn't come out of their budget primarily. We help them out with it. We're not pushing them to, we don't expect them to do something for free, you know. The DUI task force helps them out.
So it's a good partnership.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to do with the community, within the community, and one thing and another. We just need the support of the commissioners. Hope you like and it hasn't changed much over the years. I've got several copies and one thing and another since I've been on. And Tracy's added a lot of stuff to as far as graphs and one thing and another, information, just so you can look at it, but everything else, mission statement, all of our objectives and one thing and another, primarily all the same.
I will move that we adopt the Broward County DUI Task Force Plan for fiscal year 2016, along with the budget, the meeting schedule, and the list of members.
I'll second that motion.
Move second, we adopt this budget plan and everything what you said in the motion.
Contact list and
Right,
and
okay.
meeting calendar. So I brought just a blank the top signatures
Just the
page,
signature
we
page?
we had a
Okay,
little
you guys
trouble.
can all,
Yeah,
we can, if you sign this one, then you can all keep the individual ones for yourself. And one thing, then this one can be recorded. That work?
and do you want us to have a signed one and you have a signed one? How do you want that to?
I think both need-
Yeah,
Should send
so
it.
let me give you this, let's just take off
You have
one
one here?
other signed page and then you'll have a signed page and we can forward a signed page on to Department of Transportation. It's due June 1, so we will get that in on time and get our funding,
Do you,
our funding.
do you have time to sign it now, or do you want us to?
Let's put it up for the vote.
Sure.
All in favor of this motion, you got that?
Right.
I'll second the motion.
No, I was moving
Yes.
second already, I mean, we're voting on it
Oh,
now.
all right, yes.
All in favor?
I,
Motion passed.
Hate to be pushy, but we're probably running into somebody else's time.
Sharon?
Sharon Doyd with the Broadwater Reporter, I was wondering if I could get a copy.
Yeah, sure, do you want a copy of everything?
Actually, I would.
I'll just give you my copies.
And then you give me a copy, and then you can give me a copy.
No, I'll give her
Or
my
you could
copy.
email it to me, whatever is easy.
I'll give you this. Just know, Sharon, that the budget attached to this is a projected budget. That's, I mean, it's pretty clear on there
I
that
guess you can
nothing
write over the top of
We
mine.
can remedy
is
that.
set in stone, but you have all four of those
I have that.
things are there for you.
I did this the other day.
I'm gonna watch it.
You got another one?
We did that one, didn't we?
I did this the other day too.
Oh, I'm also concerned about the program with the bartenders.
Absolutely. You can always use John's.
Like I said before, I have my glasses on
Or his
too.
phone number.
We appreciate your time
Yeah.
on this.
And well, thank you for your support and your work on this and everything.
absolutely.
I think it's very worthwhile.
We really need to target these kids. We do have, as I was kind of touching on, there is a couple other programs we'd really like to get through the school and one thing or another, but because they target up to the age 25 and one thing, that we're gonna try to possibly have it done in an evening. It's a 4-hour deal. Try to have it done in the evening, maybe at the, I don't know if we can get enough support to have it at the gym or at least at the ambulance building and one thing or another. And that's what it does, it targets the young drivers and whatnot. And that is taught by specialized trainers with the Montana Highway Patrol.
Is there,
Do you need to record those?
She can record. I think she recorded it, I'm not sure about last year's.
Can't remember whether it's recorded or not. I'll look back
I
and see.
do know,
If not, it'll be on file.
Perfect. And can I send you an electronic copy with that, of all
Yes.
4 documents? Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
I probably can't find it right now, but I do know there is, you did record, I think it was 2012, I believe you recorded. But I'm not sure, probably not.
I can look back and see.
Okay. Let's see.
And I probably have copies of everything.
I don't see it right now. I did the other day, maybe I'll give it to you.
Perhaps.
Okay, we'll get out of your hair then.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
again.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
everything you do.
Have a great day.
You too.
this afternoon, there's a thing out in front of the courthouse at 3:00, recognizing people like yourselves. Love to see you there.
I tried to hide it,
Yeah.
as you know.
You better be front and
I don't-
center, John.
I don't mind helping in one thing and another wherever I can, but recognition, that's for everybody else.
No, everybody is recognized.
Yeah, I know.
We're not pinpointing
Yeah.
anybody.
Okay, okay, thanks again.
Thanks, you guys.
Running a little behind, but Nicole Brown, planner, request final plat approval of amended lot. Robertson.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Subdivision.
How's that doing?
Good, good.
Waiting on Hart. Waiting on Hart. He's living in Idaho right now. Waiting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, where is this?
So this is off of Filson Road towards Winston. You had given them preliminary approval back in
Recently, wasn't it?
January 5th.
Yeah, they floated right through this.
It's a really long name. You ready? All right, this is the lot A2, A1 of the amended Robertson Minor subdivision. Just go through each of these. It appears to me they've met all of their conditions. That will be for you to decide. I'll help you make your decision. So, number 1. Plans for sewage treatment and water supply submitted to Montana Department of Environmental Quality for review and approval for lot A2, A1A, the smaller lot. This one has a home on it and it's larger than 20 acres, so it didn't have to go through DEQ approval. This one being less than 20 acres did. So there's the DEQ approval for that. Number 2. Prior to any development and/or soil disturbance, a weed management plan for the proposed development shall be submitted to the County Weed District for review and approval. We have a signed and approved weed management plan. Number 3, I have nothing to give you. The applicant will be required to submit the preliminary plat and final plat drawings in electronic format to Broadwater County in ArcGIS, AutoCAD, or MicroStation format. Of course, I just save that material to my computer. So I have that. Number 4, the applicant and the Fire Protection Authority having jurisdiction shall use their best efforts to draft a fire protection plan specifically for this subdivision in accordance with Broadwater County subdivision regulations. The plan shall be equally acceptable to the FPHJ, the applicant, and the county governing authority. The plan shall adequately address the fire risk analysis, all findings of fact, and appropriate mitigation measures. In the event the parties are unable to come to agreement by the final plat submittal, the applicant shall become eligible to provide the per lot cash in lieu fee for water supply as may be defined in Broadwater County subdivision regulations in effect at the time of submittal. So as you know, when we went through and redid our subdivision regulations, the fire portion of it was taken out of the regulations. The fire department we drafted their own entire set of fire regulations. So instead of a fire plan now, it's basically just communication between the developer and the fire chief or the fire board representative, whomever the chief designates. So what I've given you there to meet this condition is an email thread, some correspondence between the developer, Danielle Van Duyn, myself, and Ed Schindel. So the last notation on there is Ed Schindel saying, as long as their driveway can meet the appropriate turnarounds for the fire trucks, they're okay with it. Nothing more required. Number 5 concerns the plat here. Any areas in excess of 15% slope shall be designated as no build zones on the final plat. And so you'll see here all along the top, it's a fairly steep slope, no build zone there. Number 6, also the final plat shall be prepared in accordance with the applicable state survey requirements, Montana Subdivision Plating Act survey requirements, and county subdivision regulations. It's been signed by Mr. Don Schauber, our examining land surveyor, and the owners of the property. Number 7, the book and page reference to the restrictive covenants filed with the county clerk and recorder shall be indicated on the face of the final plat. In addition, restrictive covenants, revocable or alterable only with the consent of the Board of County Commissioners, shall be placed upon the property and shall provide for the following. A, notification of the potential health risk from radon concentrations and that such risk can be evaluated through soil tests and mitigated through radon abatement techniques incorporated into structures. B, a notification that all dwelling units within the subdivision should be constructed to specifications which meet or exceed equivalent provisions in the applicable state building code for this seismic zone, which is Zone 3. C, a notification that lots in this subdivision may be subject to impact fees if in place prior to lot sales. D, any additional replacement or relocated utility line shall be installed underground in accordance with county subdivision regulations unless otherwise determined by the utility provided. E, any exterior lighting shall be directed downward to minimize visibility beyond the property lines. F, a waiver of the right to protest to join a special district for the purpose of providing community water and/or wastewater treatment system improvements and/or maintenance. G, a restrictive covenant binding the landowner, any heirs, successors, and assigns, and all future owners of property within the subdivision, agreeing therein to hold Broadwater County harmless and indemnify Broadwater County from all claims, demands, obligations, suits, causes of action, damages, and liability, including the county's costs and attorney's fees, arising in any manner whatsoever out of or relating to the existence, use, operation, repair, and or maintenance of the following. Subitem 1, earthquake fault zone and any seismic activity, and subitem 2, water availability. H, notification of the presence of agricultural operations in the vicinity. I, each lot shall be maintained in a clean, attractive, and weed-free manner. Noxious weeds must be pulled, sprayed, or cut prior to seed maturity. J, a prohibition of the storage of foods, garbage, or other activities that creates an attractive nuisance for wildlife species. Hay or alfalfa storage and feeding are not prohibited where livestock are permitted. K, all cats and dogs must be restrained, penned, or otherwise under the control of their owner at all times. L, address numbers shall be clearly marked at the driveway entrance to each lot and be easily identified from the road. M, a waiver of right to protest joining a rural improvement or maintenance district for the purpose of road maintenance, mosquito control, or equitably funding parks and maintenance of parks. Number 8, prior to filing the final plat, the following improvements shall be installed or otherwise guaranteed. Subitem A, any necessary improvements required by the stormwater drainage plan, weed management plan, or approach permits. And there were no further requirements. Number 9, prior to filing the final plat, the applicant shall A, provide proof that all taxes and special assessments assessed and levied on the property are paid for the current tax year, including any past delinquencies. And this receipt shows that they have all of their taxes paid for the current tax year, which is 2014. And then the last one to come around, 9B, provide documentation showing that the applicant is the lawful owner of the property with the apparent authority to subdivide the same, showing the lien holders or claimants of record and the written consent to the subdivision by the owners of the land, if other than the applicant, and any lien holders or claimants of record against the land. So this is a platting certificate showing that Robert and Marcy Anderson are indeed the owners. And that is it for conditions.
So how do you say Daniel's last name?
Van Duyn. And she is actually Robert and Marcy's daughter. But since this was a previous subdivision, they couldn't do a family transfer. They had to go through and do a subdivision in order to split off some property for her. So.
Okay.
Is this usual? Just
No, they were a little behind on their taxes, and so that's where they were having the penalty and interest. Ms. Anderson paid all of 2013 and all of 2014 on January 8th. And so, Chase had to explain it to me a little bit too, sorry. Just tell me what they're doing. So, you know, they were behind a few times, and so that's why there was penalty and interest.
okay. But it's totally paid.
Totally paid, yep.
Very good, thanks.
Make a motion then, that we grant approval for lot A2, A1 of the amended plat of lot C1 and lot A2A of the Robertson Minor subdivision.
I will second that.
Move to second, we accept the plot for lot A2, A1, B on the Robertson minor subdivision. All in favor is,
Aye.
motion carried.
I have a special pen, if I could get your signature.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Rachel, thank you very much. And there should be 3 copies, so if you would sign 3 times. Nope, there's 3.
I have a question for Nicole. Looking at such a large item, how do you keep them in the, you roll them up or is there a big book?
I give them all to Anna and she takes care of them. She files them and records them all.
We have cabinets.
Oh, okay.
I keep the smaller version in my folder.
Okay.
In my office, but yeah.
Just
And
curious.
if you ever wanna look at them, there's very tall cabinets in my file.
To hang in kind of
Yeah.
plastic rubberized envelopes.
Mhm.
Whoops. Got it.
Static electricity.
There you go.
Point of interest, I believe the county attorney no longer has to sign it
I don't think so either, and I noticed on this one it says county planner, and I've never signed on one before either, so I'm just going to leave those blank.
Then you're gonna fill in the date, I take it.
Yeah, please see if it's necessary for the attorney or myself to sign. There's no reason to do this, and I want to change the process.
Just roll it.
Thank you. And I don't recall if I'm on next for museum or is BCDC on? I just knew that they were all back.
BCDC.
Yeah.
So I will move. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're running a little late. Ernie Forey, BCDC President, Silas Property.
Morning, sir.
I got a little bit for you to look at here. I'm here representing Broadwater County Development Corporation, and we were in, I don't even remember when, we've talked to you in the past that if we acquired the Silas property, if the county would be interested in taking it over at some point in time. And I believe all the commissioners that are here were on the board at that time. And at that time, you recommended that after we got everything settled, that we come back and discuss it more with you.
Thank you.
And I think one of the things that you probably need to look into is I don't know if any of you have ever been involved with acquiring property while you've been on the commission. BCDC doesn't have a clue what you do to do that. So we assumed that by starting the process early enough, if you're still in favor of taking the property, it would give you time to look into what you have to do to acquire it. The property won't be available until the end of 2016. We're in a 3-year contract right now. As you're probably aware, we got a wetlands grant to help pay for the property. That required us to do cleanup and spray weeds and remove Russian olive and stuff like that that's not normal or natural to the area. And that's a 3-year process, and that'll be up the end of 2016. Because we didn't know what all was involved, if you have to have public hearings and everything, or what all you have to do, we wanted to start the ball rolling to give you time to look into it, so that possibly by the end of 2016, if you're in favor of taking the property, we could start the process and do it, and it wouldn't drag on for years and years and years. I didn't put these in there because one of my other board members was talking about being here, and obviously they didn't make it. Now, this is draft. That's why I didn't put it in too. This is some of the stuff that we discussed earlier amongst ourselves at BCDC. And this is just some draft stuff, but basically what is involved with the property is if you take it over.
Can we have one more, Ernie? I gave mine to Ann.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Has everybody got everything? Where was I? Oh, the property, because of the wetlands grant, and because of, we got money also from some other organizations, there's stipulations on the property. And in layman's terms, basically, it has to be kept natural and original to state and maintained that way. Nothing can ever be done on the property. It can't be developed, you can't develop the water on it, you can't put easements on it. It just stays as it is right now. And of course, if the county took it on, they would take all the weed spraying on it, just like they do on their own property. That would meet the qualifications. The only thing that we have outside of that is through the wetlands program and everyone else that we've dealt with on this to get funding, they've all given us permission to maintain and rehabilitate the silos as long as we stay within the guidelines set up by the preservation boards and things like that. We, as you're aware, we've redone a bunch of the silos already. We've replaced a bunch of the bullet holes, fixed them, covered them, replaced a lot of the broken bricks where they tried to tip them over. We have some material left out there from that, and we've also acquired a couple hundred bricks or so from the fort in Helena. I don't know if we will get it done, but our plans at some time in the future are to fix the entryway back up. And so we would like to leave all that in there where we still have access to the property and can still continue to work on the silos if we ever get enough money and enough materials to do it.
Is that building that was between the two sides?
Yes, that's the entryway, and I don't know if you can see it from the highway, you probably can with binoculars, but the north wall of that's got a great big hole in it that they knocked in. A bunch of those bricks have been damaged severely also. At one time we thought, well, if we could find the bricks, we'd tear it down and rebuild it because it's cheaper than fixing it. We haven't been able to locate enough bricks, even though they're all over the place. They're different. We did find a couple hundred that are the same. So we do have some ideas to fix it at some point, but not by tearing it down, but by actually repairing it. And but that's in the future. And so we'd just like to retain the ability to do our work in there and finish that up. As far as the ground goes, you can't put in any established trails or anything like that. If people walk the same place all the time and they put a trail in, that's fine. But you can't guide them, you can't rock it, you can't cover it with limestone, you can't do anything with the property. It would be open to the public just like any of your other property. They could walk in and do whatever they wanted. But you can't improve the property. It needs to stay in its natural state as close as possible. And I wanted you to be aware of that because when we started out, we were only going to buy 5 acres right where the silos was. And then we thought, well, it's going to grow up around us. So we expanded it out, finally expanded it out and bought the whole property. And there were several reasons we did that. Across the front there on the highway, that was all supposedly going to be commercial lots, or could be. And what would happen if somebody came along and built great big buildings is you'd block all that off. It's the only water that's accessible out there year-round for the animals, whether it be birds, antelope, or whatever that happens to be out there. I think there's even a moose and a few elk out in that area. So we decided that maybe the idea, because when I moved here, I think there was 1 or 2 houses between here and Winston. Now there's quite a few. Eventually, not in my lifetime, but eventually every one of those lots will probably have a house on it. BZDC's point was to maybe keep some open space, to keep the silos because it's so well known, and leave some open area in there for animals and different things, and to actually enhance the housing that's out there. And it also gives travelers that go through the state, because the silos are so well known, it'll leave them visible. They can also see like the picture right behind you, and see the mountains behind it. So it's kind of become well known all over the United States by anybody that's traveled through here. There was even some plans at one point in time to maybe get it on the National Register. That I don't think would affect the property. That would just be the silos themselves. But anyway, that's basically why I'm here, and I put together a packet for Corey, because if he's going to do the research on this, this is the wetlands grant, which is basically probably a little more restrictive than anything else we have anyway. So if we follow the guidelines in that, we're okay. And I think there's also the bill of sale in there that shows we actually own the property and a few things like that. Strictly legal stuff that he might be interested in if he's doing the research for you, which I assume he probably is. So I'll leave that, if you do decide to take this on, you can give that to Corey. Also, he can contact me for anything, there's more paperwork, I can give him everything if he wants it. But I thought, well, the important stuff that you guys need to know and look at is that you can't make any changes to the property really. It has to pretty much stay as is. And I wanted you to be aware of that. You know, can't put a motel in someday.
Good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well,
right.
you know, at some point in time, that's gonna be pretty prime property.
Mhm.
And, but it's also has a tremendous value to Broadwater County as it is. So that was, hopefully our forward thinking was to try and protect that and save it for the future and our children of Broadwater County and the people that travel through.
I'm surprised about the Russian olives though.
Yeah, that was brought in, I think, from Europe or someplace. That was never normal or natural
Oh,
around
okay.
here. It's all over the place around here because it
Mhm.
spreads like dandelions.
Yeah, it does.
Every place is seed lands, if it gets any water, it grows.
Some places it's classed as a noxious weed.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know how it's actually classed here, but it is like a noxious weed. Once it gets started, it's really hard to get rid of. And to remove them, what they've done out there is they went and cut them, the bigger ones, the little ones, I think they pulled. And I don't know what they're using, because that's way out of my league, but they're painting them with something or spraying them with something. And this goes on for 2 years. And whatever they put on the stumps, it kills the root. So they're hoping in 2 years that those will be gone.
Hmm.
And then they'll just take normal weed spraying to keep up with the rest of the noxious weeds that everybody's fighting anyway. So, unless you have any questions, I guess that's really all I have. We just want to know if you were still interested, and if you are, we'd be happy to work with you. We'll do anything we can to help. We know that if you're going to do this, you're going to have to do some research on your end. Anything we can help you with on that, just let us know. If you do decide to continue on and take over the property.
I think we should.
I do too. In fact, I will move that we solidify our previous support of this project and county acquisition from BCDC and work with the county attorney, the county planner and community developer, and secretary of the Parks and Rec Board to put together a plan and follow through with the end of 2016 in mind.
I'll second that motion.
Right, only thing I'd say is, should we wait till we give this to Corey and have him do his research before we press on?
I don't see a need to.
Mm-mm. No, we're not, in my motion was not telling him what to do or how to do it. It was solidifying the commission's support, defining the partners involved, and proposing that we work with the county attorney, which for this is gonna be required. No, I don't see any wisdom in waiting.
Nicole, Brian Elmore, happy public hearing on something like this?
Well, I think, the way the motion is made is simply that you will move forward on going through with this project. So, I guess that's the way I heard the motion now anyways, that if the commission supports this, we can certainly then look at setting
Okay.
up the public
Yeah,
hearings.
okay.
But that way you can just move it on to Corey for him to look at.
Makes sense.
Okay, so the motion is made and seconded to follow through with this land acquisition of the silos. And that wording is right, and under the, I don't have to add anything else to it or not? I guess that's basically the motion right there.
Mhm.
We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I guess that's
Thanks,
all
Randy.
we need at this time then.
Thank you for your time, we appreciate
And
it.
I'll.
Thank you.
I'll-
Let us know if you need anything else.
Yeah, well,
Hey, Ernie, don't forget about our 3 o'clock party tonight.
Okay.
Thanks.
okay, we're just a little ahead of schedule. Maybe we should just wait.
Can you mail it?
Yeah, let's see what we have here. This is from the labor industry, actually what boils down to just information about the time when the Berkeley Pit and Anaconda went down, everything, there was 10 counties were set up to receive some benefits. And now they're gonna put it out kind of statewide. Basically, that's what it is in a nutshell. I mean, I don't know if I can read it or not, I guess that's what's gonna take
It
place.
should be read into minutes, I think.
Yeah, maybe not the whole letter, just highlights of it.
Okay, I'll just hit
quickly.
some of the high spots in, I guess. The first part is, this is from the labor industry. Pam Busey, it's, dear Chairman Smith. This letter is to share some information related to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, formerly known as the Workers Investment Act, on July 22, 2014. WIOA was signed into federal Montana Department of Labor and Industry, receives funding from this act to administer a workforce program to provide employment and training opportunities for adults, youth, and dislocated workers. This money is allotted to several county residents across Montana based on a structure that will be changed under the new law. I'll read this part here. In the early 90s, that's what I had just said, in the early 1970s, around the time of the Berkeley Pit closure, Montana was split into 2 local workforce areas. This was to ensure that a 10-county area surrounding Silver Bow received a slightly higher share of the training dollars, simply due to the fact that there were so many workers with families impacted by the Berkeley Pit. And the 10 counties are Beaverhead, Broadwater, Deer Lodge, Granite, Jefferson, Wilson, Clark, Madison, Mar, Powell, and Silver Bow. And now it's kind of shifted onto the northwest part. And the other part, I'll see where it is, effective July 1st, 2015, instead of funding being broken into separate pots of money, one for the 10-county CEP area and one for the remaining 46 counties, and then having calculations done based on county data. The training dollars will be calculated on a statewide basis using the county data. Essentially, this removes one step from the calculation process, and the money will now be allotted statewide using each county's specific data elements. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Please keep the envelope, Franklin. I'll just send that back to Franklin.
Oh, I think you put it in the envelope.
No, it just adds more steps for Ann and for the rest of us.
A letter here to commissioners and road supervisor. Dear officials. 6 Mile Road. 6 Mile Road is recently graded by the road crew, as has been the practice in the past few years. The road was again made wider. The gravel was again spread out further to accommodate this increased width. After the next rain, 1/1500ths of an inch, I was required to put my vehicle in 4-wheel drive to get up the road through the mud, which is about 6 Mile Road is anymore. It's either dust or mud. I read your April 2015 newsletter that the primary job of the road department is to keep the roads and bridges safe and hazard-free for the driving public. This road is not safe or hazard-free. The road is extremely slick when wet and getting impassable. What are the road department's plans to correct the situation that you have largely created on 6 Mile Road? Thank you for the attention's matter. Barbie Martin, landowner, 6 Mile, Tosca, Montana. Oh, if someone has any comments, and I'll give this to Dane.
And Dana.
Pass it down here first, please.
Huh?
Pass it down here first, please.
I would like in the future to make sure that whoever the employee is, in this case the road supervisor, is made aware previously to this being read in public and able to be here to defend themselves. He will undoubtedly have some information to share that's relevant.
Well,
But,
he'll do that to us in
yes.
his next
I
report, probably.
I would like my request to stand, please. It is a respectful request of our staff and the most transparent and informative for the
I
public.
think it's about as transparent as it can be.
Please let the record show my request for future handlings of such situations.
How many people use 6 Mile Road?
Well, there's quite a few, there's some that live up there now, you know, Robbie Dennis lives up there all the time. And there's, I suppose there's probably about half a dozen ranchers that.
For pasture?
Well, yeah, pasture and, yeah, and usually in cropping now, there's, the farmers have taken all their crops, they've seeded off to grass. And all of the shears is all grass now, or there used to be the old shear place, or the shear road. And then, and the Turners come through there.
I have a question. Did you say that that was from a Bobby Martin?
Barb.
Barb? Okay.
Yep.
Barb D. Martin, capital D E, capital N.
You all know all these people.
I'm glad you asked, yeah.
There's the minutes of May 11th, 2015.
I'll move for approval.
A second.
Okay, any additions or corrections on these? Not, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
I'll bet you kids had an easy time copying your signature when they were in high school, needing a pass.
Well, at that time, it was just a little longer. Through the years, you see how it's went. I can't get any shorter, I don't think. Okay.
And no disrespect to your kids, I'm just,
Yeah.
kids in general.
Right, right. I'll,
I've heard my own kids talk.
it's 11:30. Nicole Brown, planner, museum board.
Flagon. So the museum board was looking for 3 members. I sent it to Ernie Forey to put out on the BCDC listserv, and that day I had 3 responses. So I've spoken
Wow.
with, I've spoken with Linda Huth. She is, I don't know her position, but I know she manages the museum board. I know she works for the museum and manages the museum board, but in any case, so I've got 3 members
Excuse
that are
me.
interested.
I was trying to hear what she's saying, it's very,
Well, you wanna come up and sit up here too?
well, if she'd just speak up a little bit,
Okay.
it would help.
I'll try yelling. So I've got 3 members that are interested in serving on the board: Carla Bossi, Cord Gormley, and Ross Johnson.
What, Gormley and who, excuse me?
Ross Johnson?
From the bank.
Yes.
Oh.
Bank and Chamber of Commerce.
Can you tell me who the second one, I can't quite figure out how to write it.
Cord is C-O-R-D,
Okay,
last name Gormley, G-O-R-M-E-L-Y.
thank you.
You're welcome. And the only information, what's that?
Where does he live?
Out at,
Tofton, Raidersburg area.
no, Gormley lives out on the, by the silos, someplace else.
Oh, okay. I thought that he said in the south end of town. It was just a phone call from him.
And
Same as you
Linda
said.
was supportive of
She was
the
supportive,
list?
yep, she said the way that, that they've done it in the past, the commission can say yes or no to these folks, and then she'll bring it up to her board and they can vote, just to sort of expedite the process a little bit. So,
In that case, I'll move that we accept Carla Bossi, Cord Gormley, and Ross Johnson, each to initial one-year terms to the museum board.
I'll second that motion.
I feel each one should be voted separately.
I do not accept a friendly amendment to the motion. That's not the way we've done it in the past. There's no reason, unless you have something to offer as far as a reason. I see nothing.
And is it set up for a certain time, there's gonna be more applicants coming in, or?
You know, as long as they're full, they had 3 vacancies. These 3 positions fill these 3 vacancies. If the commission approves it, the board approves it, I don't see any reason to keep going with it. My only question on this one-year term, our term limits are now December 31st. So on that one-year term, would you prefer 6 months or a year and a half?
Thank you.
To clear that up, in managing all of the boards and putting them all together, I think it just makes more sense to keep an end of year instead of end of fiscal year term, especially with these ones coming in right smack in the middle, so.
We started advertising, I believe, in February.
Correct.
So I would say the end of this calendar year through December 31st. And that would be just in keeping with all new board members serve for just 1 year to start.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Did I second it?
Yes.
motion on the floor to vote all 3 members in. These names that you just read off for the museum board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Me?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Now, do the members of the museum board have anything to say about these
When it comes to your board, you will.
when you get it to us?
Yep, so I will give all of this information to Linda Hoos. She'll take it to your board at your next meeting, and the board will then vote on it, the museum board.
I never have figured out how they're, we never used to have to do that, so this is something different.
We think it's important for you guys to have a say. So
Yeah.
that's why we go to whoever is the kind of the lead of the board, and then also to the board.
And have you noticed that it's all new people that want to be on the board? We don't have any, people who have lived here forever.
Who's on the board right now?
Paul Putz, Chuck McLean, Keith Kirscher, Brian Kimpton, Helen Turcott, me, and there's somebody else. I've only been on 23 years, so
Kind of a newcomer, aren't you?
I'm one of the newcomers, yeah. But
Johnstone.
when you notice that Gormley's lived here a few years because he was raised in Helena, I've known him forever, and Bossy, she doesn't know anything about the county, and neither does Ross, but they wanna
But they're willing to learn.
participate, what the heck, but who's the other person? There's another one.
Is that John Stoner? John Stoner?
John Stoner, he's been on for quite a while too.
Nicole had pulled that one out of the hat.
I just saw him all yesterday at the open house, and, then you ask, and I can't even remember.
Did you have anything else? or-
No, that's it. I failed to bring up, I have a stack of letters that I need you to sign. Most of the board members that you voted on back in April know that they're on the board, but just to make it official, I have a stack of papers, letters. So I will bring those up. I'll print them, well, you're gonna be headed to lunch. I'll print them off and have them for you by the time you get back from lunch. So you can just sign them. They're all ones that you've made motions on already. I just need your signature. So I'll include these ones in that file.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Nicole.
Good work.
Okay, thanks.
Before you leave, Nicole, one thing that we should follow up on is working with Doug on the board of investors for him. So I wonder if we could talk to him today and maybe put it on the agenda. Well, no, it wouldn't be on the agenda yet, but to get it to Ernie for the listserv.
Listserv as well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because aren't those very specific roles? I think we spoke about that before, that those are very specific
Yeah.
folks that have to fill those. positions.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
maybe I'll chat.
It's right in the code.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
and I've got a file on that, I'll get that to you.
Okay, yeah, and then I can just work with Doug, excuse me, directly on that, and then